Alright guys, so in this video we'll discuss a problem which is a common interview problem, anagram check, right? So first of all, what are anagrams, right? So suppose I have two strings, dormitory and dirty room, right? So I can use the letters of dirty room to create another word, dormitory, and vice versa, right? So we won't be counting the spaces here, right? The spaces in between the words. We will just take into account the we'll just we'll just take into account the alphabets in both the strings, right? And also we won't be considering the case of an alphabet like uppercase or lowercase, right? So so any similarity between the letters will be considered regardless of whether they are uppercase or lowercase, right? So input will be two strings. So input will be two strings S1 and S2, and we shall write a program which will return true or false, right? We should write function which should return true or false. We'll pass these two strings in those. We'll pass these two strings in that function, and if they are anagrams, it will return true, and if they are not, it will return false, right? So there are two approaches to solve this problem. Okay, I'll show you both. So let's see the first approach, which is which is relatively which is relatively easier because we'll be using inbuilt functions of Python to solve our problem, right? So okay, first let's try to understand what will be the algorithm to uh, which we will implement using the code in Python, right? So first I need to convert first I need to convert all the alphabets to lowercase, right? Second, I need to sort them out in in alphabetical order. In alphabetical. Next, I need to sort them out in alphabetical order. So we'll have spaces also in there. So third, I'll eliminate it. So third, I'll eliminate spaces. And if they are equal, the function will return and if they are equal, the function will return true, and if they are not, it will return false. So let's implement this with a function. So let's implement this with a function. So let me define a function here, anagram. Inside that I'll pass two strings, string 1 comma string 2. I will convert string 1. So I'll take string 1 and I convert and I will convert all the alphabets to lowercase, right? So dot lower. So let me demonstrate it. Str equals, not str, string equals to uh, let's say 3. Okay, so string dot lower. Yeah, so it will change the uppercase letters to lowercase, right? So T was in caps here, so it turned into a small letter, right? Next, I need to sort this out, so I'll use sort, right? So here also, if I try sort it inside that, you can see that uh, the the alphabets are sorted, but it doesn't return a string. It returns a list which has um, which has alphabets of the string. Right now, if the string is tree is tall, if I sort this out, you can see it will count the spaces also, right? While sorting it, it will also count the spaces, and it will solve it will sort the it will sort all the alphabets, but it will also count the spaces. So we need to eliminate the spaces. So for that we'll use dot split. Okay. So, and then with split we also have to use join. Why? Because what split will do is, let's say if I use split here, because the sorted function is returning us a list, and list does not have any attribute called split, but we need split to remove the spaces. First we need to change uh, so first we need to change the list into back to a string, so that we can use the split to eliminate spaces, right? So if I use join here, you can see that all the all the alphabets in the list are joined, but that also includes all the spaces, right? Now to remove the spaces, I'll use a split. So dot split, yeah, right. So the same thing we have done the same thing we have done here, right? I first join them, and then I've used split so that we can remove the spaces, right? And here we use this um, we use this quotes because we need to specify that we want to we want to join all the all the alphabets will note with no spaces between them, right? I if I'm I if I'm if I mention a dollar here instead of no space, it will join all of them. It will join all of the alphabets with a dollar, right? But because I didn't mention anything here, it will simply join them. Okay, but still still please note that after join also, it's still not returning a string, right? It's still returning a list item, right? It's still a list with just one item, right? So we need to change this to a string, right? So so one of the ways is to, so you need to understand here that first it was list of list of list first it was a list of characters was combined to form a list of string, right? But it now has only one item, right? So but this is still a list. So from this list to change it into a proper string, we have to repeat what we have what we have done here already, right? What we have done here already. So we'll use join. We'll put this entire thing inside the bracket. now you can see here the brackets are removed, right? Now this is a proper string. So similar thing we have to use here also. We'll put the entire thing inside the bracket. Same for string 2. Okay, I can just copy the entire thing. Then if string 1 equals to string 2, return true, else return false, right? So I hope it makes sense. First we have first we first we convert all the alphabets to lowercase, then we sorted it, then we remove the space, and then we join back all the all the alphabets to make a string. But uh, just this step will give us a list of string with just one string inside it. And it's important that we change that list of string to string, so we use join, we use join again, right? So that the list of string will, will change into a proper string, right? So let's run this function. I need to execute this. All right, so anagram dirty room dormitory. It's true, right? If I change here e, it's false, right? Let's check with the uppercase thing. So if I type d in small also, small letters, still it's true, right? Because d is still, I mean, here all the alphabets will be changed to lowercase, so yeah, it's working, right? Now let me explain the second approach, which is a little manual. So let's try another approach, which is a slightly manual approach. So if I have dirty room and dormitory passed as two strings in the function, and I need to check that they are anagrams or not, right? So a slightly manual approach will be, okay, first to remove the spaces, right? And to convert all the alphabets to lowercase. And then what I'll do is I'll declare an empty, and then I'll declare an empty dictionary, right? What is a dictionary? It is a type of data structure which stores data in form of in pairs of keys and values, right? So let's say if I want to store an inventory of an inventory of furnitures, so it will store data like this: sofas 4, chairs 3, tables 1, right? So and so on, right? So it will so a dictionary stores data in form of keys and values, in pairs of keys and values. So if I want to know if I want to so there, if I want to retrieve that how many sofas are there, so suppose this dictionary is called A, so I'll just write A of sofas, right? And it will print 4. if I want how many tables we have, A of tables, what it will print? 1, right? So that's how it is. So let's see how to use dictionary to to execute this function, right? So once I declare an empty dictionary, after that I will traverse through the first string, right? And then I'll and then the first and then the algorithm is, if the first character, I'll check if it's there in the dictionary. If it's there in the dictionary already, then I'll increment the count by 1, right? Because it's there in the dictionary. So it works like that. I have D I R T Y. Okay, so it will check. Okay, so it will check in the dictionary that do we have a D here? No, we don't have a D here. If there is no D, it will store it here. So it will store D with a count 1. Next, it will move to I. Do we have an I in the dictionary? There, if not, then I'll store I with a value 1, right? Then again, we'll move to R. Do we have an R in the dictionary? No, we don't have an R in the dictionary. So we store with a count. D, do we have a T in the dictionary? No, we don't have a T. 1. Y, 1. Then we move to R. R is there? Yes, it's there. So I'll change it to 2. O, do we have an O? No, we don't have an O. So we'll add an O. 1. Next, again, do we have an O? Yes, we have an O. So I'll make it 2. Then again, we'll see, okay, do we have an M? Yes, we have an M. So we add an M, count 1, right? So so this keeps going on for string 1, right? And then we'll move to string 2. String 2 also will do the same thing, but with a slight change. We'll start with the first alphabet. Okay, it's D. Do we have a D in the dictionary? Yes, we have a D in the dictionary. So instead of incrementing here, we'll subtract a -1. Okay. So in S2, if we find an element in the dictionary, we won't increment it by 1, we'll decrement it by 1. All right. So D. Okay. So we have found it. So we'll do a -1. Oh, do we have an O in the dictionary? Yes, we have an O in the dictionary. So we'll do a -1. Do we have an R in the dictionary? Yes, we have an R in the dictionary. So we'll do a -1. I in the dictionary? Yes, -1. T in the dictionary? Yes, -1. O in the dictionary? Yes, again. So we have a -2 here, okay? And R in the dictionary? Yes, so again a -1. So here also we have a -2 here. Y in the dictionary? Yes, we have. What did we miss? Okay, M, yeah, M we missed. So here also -1, right? So so you can see that what we stored here, the counts we stored here, all of them turn to 0, right? All of them turn to 0 while traversing through S2, right? And if all the elements are S2, and if all the elements, all the key value pairs are 0, if all the values of all the keys in the dictionary are 0 after traversing through S2, then we can declare that both the strings are anagrams. And if, let's say, we have an extra E here, right? So it will check, okay, do we have E inside the dictionary? No, we don't have any E inside the dictionary. So it will create a pair here, E and then 1, right? So in that case, we still have a non-zero value inside a dictionary, right? We still have a non-zero value inside the dictionary, which shows that it's not, these both are, which shows that they are not which shows that they are not anagrams, right? So that's the key. We need to check all the values. If all the values are anagrams, if all the values turn to zero after traversing to the after traversing through the second string, then it's an anagram. And if some value, some non-zero value is left, then it's not an anagram, right? So that's the basic so that's the basic algorithm implement in will implement with code in Python, right? So let's do this. So we'll define a function. So first we'll define a function. Define anagram check s1 comma s2, right? So first things first, let's eliminate the spaces. S1 equals to s1 dot replace. I'll replace white spaces with no spaces, and I'll change all the alphabets to lower characters, right? Second, s2 equals to s1 dot replace. I'll replace the white spaces with no spaces dot lower, right? If length of s1 is not equal to length of s2, okay, that's also one thing, that after removing the spaces and changing all the alphabets to lower, okay, this is also one check which can save a lot of time, that after removing the spaces, just compare the lengths, right? If they are equal, then we can proceed further, right? If they are not equal at the first place, then it's pretty obvious that they can't be anagrams, right? Because the length itself is, if the length itself is not equal, what's the point of comparing the alphabets, right? So if length of s1 is not equal to length of s2, return false, right? Next, count. I declared the empty dictionary here. Now for letter in s1, so I am using a loop here to traverse through s1. If letter in count of letter plus equals to -1. Okay, so this loop will traverse through s1, and then it will check in count, that if the element is present inside the count, it should increment it by 1, else count of letter should be equal to 1. If it's not there inside the count, then it will store it with a count 1, right? So this loop will be on till the length of string 1, right? And after that we'll run a second loop for letter in s2. Count of, if it's there, if it's inside, if letter is present in count, then count of letter minus equals to 1, right? Else count of letter equals to 1, right? If it's present inside the count, then decremented by 1. If it's not present inside the count, then add the alphabet as a key with a count 1, with a value 1, right? Now after the check is done, right, after we have traversed through s1 incrementing all the counts, and we traverse through S2 decrementing all the counts. We'll check that if the count has any non-zero value, right? So for k in count, if count of k is not equal to 0, it will return false, else it will return true. Right? So I hope you understood this part. Like now it will traverse through count, right? So it will check, okay, count of D is one, or if it's a non-zero value or not, right? And it should not be a non-zero, it should not be a non-zero value, because after traversing through S2, if we want that, if both the strings are anagrams, so after traversing through S2, this count of D, or for all the alphabets, count of I, count of R, all of them should be 0 0 0, right? But if it encounters a non-zero value, right, if some value is non-zero, it will it will it will return false. Else, if all the values are 0, right, if this loop is done, and if it didn't encounter any non-zero value, then it will return true. That means that both the strings are anagrams, right? So so let's execute this function. Let's see if we, okay, all right. So I've written S2. Yeah. So let's execute this function, anagram check, right? Dirty room, dormitory, it's true, right? If I add an E here, it's false, right? So you see it works, right? A slightly manual approach where we don't use much of the built-in functions of from which Python offers, but we still use some of them like replace and lower, right? But not all of them, unlike what we did in our first approach, right? So please go through both the approaches, and if you have a better, if you have a better solution for this, please do leave a comment in the comment section, and subscribe to this channel for more videos on programming.